Alrighty, guys. So we are reading Ever After High, Fairy Got Talent by Susanne, I think it's like Selfors or something. I've never watched Ever After High, so I don't even know what these two characters are. But yeah. So this is gonna be part one. And I don't think this one has any photos in it. Nope, so it doesn't have any photos. So here we go. What's the carrot doing inside my shoe? Fabel Thorne's daughter of the notoriously wicked dark fairy turned her high-top sneaker upside down. A half-eaten carrot fell out and landed on the plush carpet. The corner of Fabel's lip curled in annoyance. I certainly didn't put it there. Oops, sorry. That familiar response came from Fabella's roommate, Bunny Balance, daughter of the famously late White Rabbit. Bunny had the annoying habit of munching on carrots while working on her thorn work. Without looking up from her mirror pad or her hex book, she tossed the carrot tops at the compost bin, but they'd often fall up in the other place. Yesterday, Fabel had found one of her sock drawers. I don't know how you can stand eating those things all the time, Fabel said as she laced up her shoe. Carrots are delicious, Bunny told her. She collected the carrot tops and dumped it into the bin. Then she grabbed her book bag and scurried towards the door. You know what? I think it's delicious, Fabel asked, a cool tone in her voice. Bunny stopped in her tracks and spun around. Turnips, cabbage, beanstalks, roots. Fabel raised a single eyebrow. I think dark magic is delicious. Bunny's eyes widened. Her gaze darted to the wall of the painting of Thorn family crest. In the center of the crest, a motto Doris of dark magic wrapped around an evil-looking eye that seemed to follow Bunny. No matter where she stood in the room, the painting was intimidating and some of the inspirational to others. Depending on what side of magical world one stood, you can't eat dark magic, Bunny said, though she didn't sound entirely convinced. A dark fairy can do whatever she pleases with dark magic, Fabel coolly informed her. Bunny's nose twitched. It thrilled Fabel to see that her little dark magic comment that had steered uncertainty in her roommate. Of course, Fabel would never use dark magic to hurt Bunny or any other student at Ever After High, 'cause harm to others can get her expelled. While at school, it was best to follow the headmaster's rules, or at very least appear to be doing so. But every once in a while, a reminder was needed. Fabel was no ordinary student, and that fact should never be forgotten. Not by her roommate, not by anyone. Fabel's mother was a dark fairy, the one who hadn't been invited to the celebrations after Sleeping Beauty was born. And this had cursed Sleepy Beauty to sleep for 100 years. The dark fairy was royalty in the fairy world. It was Fabel's destiny to one day wear her mother's crown to become the most villainous of all fairies. It was a Fabel's option, a glorious destiny. It filled her with pride. So, as she looked at her Wonderland roommate, she smiled most wickedly in the future. I suggest you keep your veggie snacks on your side of the room. Her eyes blazed. The both beds rose off the floor as a little reminder of her magical powers. Sure, okay, Bunny gulped. You're right. I've been kind of messy. Oh dear, that the correct time. I'm going to be late for a very important date." And off she went, as quickly as she could. Who could blame her for wanting to make her escape? Roaming with a daughter of the darkest of the dark fairies was a bite unsettling of the time. Bark, bark. Fabel reached down the scoop and a small fluffy ball into her arm. The creature was a wiggling, wagging, wet-nosed Pomeranian puppy named Spangle. These were the moments when Fabel allowed her icy exterior to melt, for she loved Spindle with all her heart. This might have surprised some, but being a villain did not mean that Fabel was incapable of love. Quite the opposite. Fabel felt things deeply, as she loved her family with a ferocity of fairy. Fairy hearts might be smaller than human hearts, but they beat with a rhythm that is powered by magic. Fairies are compatible of love without measure, but so too they are compatible of dark emotions, also without measure. She kissed Spindle's head, hugged him, and laughed when he licked her cheeks. "That's enough, little one," she said tenderly. "I got to finish getting dressed. It's a busy day, as usual." She set him on her bed. He stretched into his tummy, watching while Fabel finished tying her sneakers. Shoes in place, Fabel walked over to her, vanishing carefully, stepping over the turnip top along the way. Aside from Bunny's tended habit of eating raw vegetables, there is nothing wrong with Bunny. But Fabel couldn't understand why the headmaster had chosen such a weird pairing for a roommate. Why not select someone who ate at very least? Was part of Fabel's story. Like Bear Beauty, who Fabel would someday curse to fall in deep sleep for 100 years. Or, if not a character from her story, why not choose another villain's daughter, like Lizzie Hearts or Gingerbread House, or even better, why not another fairy? At least a fairy wouldn't have a stupid collection of Wonderland teacups. A fairy wouldn't gnaw on roots and tumbers. And a fairy would understand the importance of wing care. If I ran this school thing, would be totally different. Fabel mused. She'd have an entire floor of the dormitory all to herself, as a future ruler rightfully deserves. Once she took her place as a dark fairy, she'd come back to Ever After High and change things. That will be a glorious day, but in the meantime, she had other things to tend to, like her duties for Cheer Huxing squad captain. Today was a very important day of her team. They would begin to learn new routines for the regional tournament next month, where all the high schools in the Fable districts would compete for the title of Cheer Hoxing champions. Before Fabel rose to the ranks of captain, the Ever After High Cheer Hexers had to lose streaks that spanned generations. Fabel was determined to bring home the golden trophy and place it in the trophy case in the Ever After High crimson. Fabel stood in front of her mirror. She pulled her shimmering blonde hair into a high ponytail, chose a headband with a thorn ornament to hold her teal bangs in place. She inspected her reflection to make sure she didn't forget anything. Her Cheer Hoxing uniform, including the shimmery skirt, the t-shirt with the letters EAH, and the midnight blue leggings. The pom-poms were already tucked into her equipment bag. There was only one thing more to do. She unfolded her wings. Fairy wings are unique in the wings world. Neither made of feathers like a bird wings, nor stretched skin like the bat's. They were more a skin of butterfly wings. Each wing is made of overlapping sections that are ultra thin. When light shines through, the sections act like the prism, casting brilliant colors and sometimes even rainbows. When not in use, the wings are folded and flattened against the back. Fairy clothing was tailored to include wing holes. Fabelle's wings were so iridescent they completed any uniform she chose. Fabelle glanced out her dormitory window. The morning was pleasantly sunny. The sky was blue as a icing on the thorn cake. A perfect day for practice. She searched through the bottles, perfumes, and cosmetics of her vanity. She used many products to keep her wings healthy. After showering, she treated them with a leave-on conditioner and keep them glossy and supple. "Oh, there it is," she said as she grabbed the bottle. Then she reached over each shoulder and spritzed her wings tips with sunscreen. "Anyways, be proud of your wings," her mother had often told her. "They set you apart from the rest of the fairy tale world. They are the symbol that you, my darling daughter, are made of magic." "I certainly am," Fabelle thought with a satisfied smirk. She tucked the spindle in the crook of her arm and headed out to begin what she hoped would be another villainous day, and she made sure that her wings were proudly displayed for all to see. And that is the end of part 1, chapter 1.